Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Stark. This is Steve Sidwell.
Yes, sorry, yeah.
We have an important message for you. Crouchy just nipped out to the loo. We're in the pub, and we've been told to tell you that you need to hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet, but you love being part of this world and you enjoy the podcast. We need you to hit subscribe on YouTube. Isn't that right, Sid?
Yeah, listen. We love what we do. We, in this wacky world, we go off-piste. You bring us back into play. It's enjoyable. We know you love doing it as well. Listening in, watching in, keep focused and keep doing it.
Yeah, so be like Steve, subscribe well, and you can enjoy more of this fab content.
Hello and welcome to that Peter Crouch podcast. Me, Peter Crouch, notorious SID and the BBQC. Plus, all good? Everyone okay?
Really good, thank you. Yeah, well, 'tis barbecue season
Certainly
as well.
is. Certainly is.
Have you had any?
Have you had any good ones?
Have I had any? Yeah, I'm trying to go every day at the moment, weather permitting. It's I'm trying to do everything on it. I don't know. I hear a lot of people saying that they can't barbecue at the moment because the weather's a bit inconsistent. But, you know, we hit these little hot spells and these little summery spells, and it feels... I just want to encourage people not to be fair weather barbecuing. Yeah. You know, don't just view it as something that you only do in the summer. You know, I'm a big advocate of that. But I get myself out there, you know it.
Yeah.
Invite's always there.
I like it as well.
Neither of you have bothered to take me up on it yet.
No. I just don't, it's not a whole day for me. I know I like the barbecuing. You know, we've been down this route many a time.
Well, we're not doing it again.
We're not doing it. I'm a huge fan of it. I like barbecuing. Yeah. You know? I do. I've been out there myself. Been out there quite a bit myself this summer.
Have you?
Yeah, and even if it's raining, I'll still go out there, and I'll still do it.
Yeah.
But then we eat inside.
Yeah. No, I get it.
It's fun for all the family, you know.
Well trodden ground. What about you, Sid? You
Yeah, no, we've had quite a few actually recently.
Yeah, good.
I didn't want to document it because I didn't want to get,
Don't be scared of him. Don't be scared of him. Look at you, looking at you. You used to just sit on the fence and play it all straight and everything. Now you're coming after the cyclists and you're coming after the barbecuers.
Listen, you know these cyclists. You know about my feelings on it. We're inclusive of all. I like barbecuers, cyclists that each to their own. But the cyclists, it's the ones that double bike for me on a Sunday.
Up. Yeah. Single file.
Single file, I think. Yeah.
Do you know what would be funny though? Just moving this forward a bit would be to let me come cook on your barbecue. Like, I'd love to look over and watch you watching me having a go on your barbecue.
I'd like to know how you...
Cuckold.
Yeah, we've talked about this, haven't we? Cookhold. I want to cookhold your barbecue. It'd be great.
Slightly degrading, but maybe enjoyable.
I know, but I would love to just look at you, looking at me, knowing that in your head you'd be going, he's good at it.
He is good though.
Just sitting there,
better than me,
drink of your choice, just watching the master at work.
Yeah, what I'm saying, Sid, is don't be afraid, because I know you got it in you, and I know you.
No, Joe, what we've actually had quite a few recently, and it tastes incredible on the
charcoal.
On the Komodo egg.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's a game changer. Got to say, I find it hard to maintain the heat.
I know, and that is a struggle sometimes.
Can we have a chat after? You just let me know.
I'll show you how you do it. But there is a way that you can just keep it up for that whole time, rather than what you're probably having is a big old burst of excitement at the start with the flame, and then it's
all comes blazing, and then it's all downhill from then.
We will talk.
Yeah, let's talk after.
Yeah,
not now.
Yeah. So where are we up to then? It feels like the season's fast approaching. It's all kind of heating up.
Yeah.
There's various different things kind of kicking about at the moment. All feels up in the air.
Yeah. You always got to get the aggression on people's not signing players. I've seen a few various ones of my teams that haven't signed players, and it's like owners out, announce someone. Any kind of tweet or post they do, it's like announce so and so, announce so and so. Buy. It's quite an aggressive time if you don't buy players. I think teams want to do their business early, or fans want to see it.
If you're not privy to information, you're concerned your club isn't signing anyone. I do get it. I do get that anger. It's hard to trust the process, so to speak.
Is there not a case for having a good pre-season and training the players that you've already got to be better next year than just announcing a new player?
Yeah. Yeah, but maybe the assumption is that you need new players to change the.
I do think it definitely. I know we've been in dressing rooms where you sign a player and the level in training goes up. Once you sign that player, everyone, I don't know, there's something nice about kind of signing 2 or 3 good players, and you see straight away, the level goes up. Like,
is that because suddenly people are threatened, and
it's a
therefore,
threat?
Yeah,
Keeps people on their toes,
and also you want to impress them players that's just signed in.
Bizarrely, don't you?
You do.
It's weird. You want to think, you're at a good club. Yeah, you've made the right choice. You want them to go home and go, fucking hell, you should see so and so. Like he can play.
Yeah, so it does change, does it?
The mentality changes definitely with a few signings.
Yeah.
I would say, and I've been that signing as well. You want to impress in training the first kind of week. You want to be the fittest. You want to be, the good. You want to stand out in training. You'll stand out in the matches. Yes, levels do go up, but I don't think it's the be all and end all.
Yeah,
signing new players. It doesn't mean you're going to have a great season because you've signed some players.
No,
Look at Chelsea.
But I think it all falls in with the kind of kit reveals. That's always an important tradition at this sort of time, or in the previous couple of weeks. You get these kit reveal videos as well. Have you seen some of these floating about?
It's like Hollywood films now, aren't they?
It's not accepted that you just release the kit and it's a photo of the team all in the new kit. It's not that anymore, is it? It's parodies of things. It's remakes of films. I saw an Indiana Jones one for the Blackpool team
I've heard about this.
too long ago.
And he's looking at like the treasure.
Yes, that's the one.
Wow.
Who thinks of these?
Yeah, but also, are you contractually bound to be the Indiana Jones in that? Does that fall under your contract in commercial?
Imagine that if you sign up for Liverpool, they've gone, we're going to do this reveal, and you're going to be Indiana Jones.
Just as Indiana Jones. Pardon?
Surely you've got to say, just going, no.
Well, yeah, I think so.
Do you mean for the player reveal rather than the kit reveal?
Well, for both.
Yeah, do you get a say in your player reveals? So if they go, right, we've had this idea. Now, you normally have to turn these around quite quickly. Why?
Yeah.
It's often like they're playing a bit of the movie and they just cut you in at the end doing a robot or something, But do you get a veto on that?
Yeah, I think so. It's I think we come up with an idea, this is going to really resonate. Would you mind being Indiana Jones? Yeah. Fucking nuts, isn't it?
But he's walking in with the full hat, the thing. I can't remember if he had a whip.
Must have done.
Possibly. Yeah, you'd assume so. And then he opens up the chest and it's like light in his face. And the best bit about that advert for me is the fact that they've clearly then done little cutaways where they have to film his facial reactions to it. So they've gone, right, we just need you to look really surprised. So he's opened up the chest. He's like, ooh.
Good acting, I thought. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, no,
they did quite well.
Not too shabby.
Just go back on the signings quickly. I think it's the start of a new beginning. I think the days of hundreds and hundreds of millions have gone. I think with all this FFP.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
seriously, I think that's why it's slow. I think these them 500, 700, £1 billion windows, they're a thing of the past.
Are you saying Grealish got in at the right time with 100 million?
Clubs are shit scared now.
Well, you would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they are. They can't.
Like Everton and what happened last year.
Yep, I'm telling you.
Nottingham Forest and they Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
Newcastle shit themselves, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I don't want to put a damper on it, but that's what I think.
Do you think fans understand all of this stuff yet? In a kind of mainstream, easy to understand,
I think they do. Yeah, I think fans are very knowledgeable now about the game. I do think that I do think they understand it. I think it's very complex. I don't think all the ins and outs of it all, but basically, if you kind of overspend and you don't bring in enough revenue, then you are going to find yourself in trouble.
Yeah,
that's the kind of layman's terms of it all, really, isn't it?
But they still want to just see that one banger that comes in.
Of course you do. You want to know, like this is my thing. Like, do you not want to see Newcastle have got the money to go and buy someone, right? Do you not want to go? Do you not want to see Mbappe playing for Newcastle? I do. I mean, I want them to go bang his 300 million. This is what we want Mbappe.
You're happy for one or two teams that can afford it to just go.
Well, you don't want to see Mbappe in the Premier League.
No, of course I do. I totally agree.
I don't
necessarily agree that you can have one club being able to do it though.
Yeah, but that's just luck of the draw, isn't it? It's like it's like Man City when they took over Man City, they went and spent fortunes and now they're the best team.
But that's why I think there's a case for a draft sort of setup. So you
Do
can
you
get these
really?
players. No, I don't necessarily. No, Sids. It's what I mean is it's a solution to stop one or two clubs.
Yeah,
State
Yeah.
backed.
I suppose it does get boring.
State backed a lot of the time.
Yeah.
To be able to, I'd love to see Mbappe in the Premier League. You'd love to see the biggest players in the world. Do you think this sort of has this FFP stuff? Has it reduced the value for some players? Because if there was a period of time where X player goes for 100 mil, then any player remotely near to that justifies a 100 mil price tag. But because of this and less transfers, weirdly, does that bring down the cost of players that otherwise would have been pitching in at those sort of Grealish levels?
Yeah. It's got to
Must
start.
do, must
It
do.
has to start. There's got to be a president of it. The initial one or two, they might go, nope, no chance. If Jack Grealish and Declan Rice have gone for this, and this before, he's definitely worth that. It's a new, as I say, it's a new cycle now. It's a new beginning. Once the first couple get over the line, and it stops sizzling, then it should be a bit more subdued.
Yeah. So then
But-
potentially, is it doing its job? You might say, because if you think about it, if you're able to get some of these players in other clubs for less money, it sort of works, doesn't it?
Getting them in early doors over the line, it works. When the longer it drags on, then you've got no chance.
Yeah. All right. Well, interesting thoughts and one to watch, I think, as we kind of move into the early parts of the season, get out this sort of transfer time. Should we do a couple of messages?
Yeah. But yeah, I've got a couple of messages here, right? It's a great one here from Nigel. I didn't want you to read it because it actually involves you both. It said, loving your dust, you're on a podcast, yeah. Very nicely done, Nigel. But something you said on your final episode just made my stomach drop through the floor. You just spoke about some Asian fans mistaking Sidwell for Nicky Butt. And as you said this, I had a horrible dawning realisation. I've listened to your podcast, but I've never watched it on YouTube. And I've realised that in my head, Steve is played by Nicky Butt. Nicky Butt is the face I see when I hear him talk. And it gets worse. This made me realise that I've never seen Chris's face, ever. Who did I think he was? I'll be honest, I'm not up to date on modern DJ, comedians, etc. So I thought he was actually Josh Widdicombe.
Yes. Do you know I've had that before?
Have you had that before,
actually.
really?
Yeah, weirdly so.
Now, to be fair, it turns out Josh and Chris having a passing similarity, not as much as Steve Butwell. But still, this all came from just hearing a voice and being a bit dim. So thanks, Nicky, Josh and Peter for the great podcast. I'm looking forward to the next season.
Yeah. that's
Enjoyed
good.
that.
And a
So
new
he's
nickname
never
for
watched
you
it.
as well.
Yeah.
Sid.
So he's actually never watched it, and he visualises Nicky Butt when I speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've had Josh Widdicombe before?
Yeah.
Well, Nigel, I mean, so I'm a bit. So he's never watched it on YouTube. He only listens, and then when he hears me speak, he's now visualising Nicky Butt.
Which, by the way, is like I don't get because you're obviously a world-renowned footballer.
Yeah,
I get it with myself. I work in radio, so my whole thing is my voice, right? You're not really seen, heard but not seen, sort of thing.
It is strange. I've got to say, in your industry, more when you see the face of the voice for the first time, and you
That
go,
is mad. That is
Yeah.
mad. Oh, it
Isn't
really
it?
is, yeah.
Sometimes it's better not to see, I think, because you build up that own picture, and then if you see it, I always remember the first time I saw Chappers, I was like, what's going on there? Like, that's not right.
yeah.
And it's just because you get so used to the voice,
Yeah, it is mad.
Is there anyone I'm trying to think who you wouldn't know the face of that you would? Because it'd be great to reveal them to you one day.
I think...
What do you imagine? Voice of the Bulls, National Lottery. Tonight's jackpot.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people like that. I'd love
What
to
an
do.
awful-
Like
what
a
about the guy? Have you ever
reveal.
seen the guy, the Geordie from Big Brother?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
How's it go again? How did he say again?
Dear Fave
Dear Fave.
in the Big Brother house.
Yeah, him, that one.
Yeah.
What does he look like? Have you ever seen him before? Has he not been on like I'm a Celeb or anything? Yeah.
What, just for being
Or-
the voice?
Or like, yeah, just like, has he not been on
No, I
something?
hear you.
You know
I
what I
hear
mean?
you.
Like, he should be on Dancing on Ice, shouldn't he?
Both of you have a little think about one or two that your voices that you've heard, right, but you haven't seen.
Yeah, okay.
Have you ever seen him though, the Geordie? I'm talking
I
about?
actually
Oh,
have.
have you? I thought you might.
Oh,
have you
I've
though?
not, no.
So I
No.
worry my image of him is affected by the fact I have seen him.
Does he look like
obviously.
his voice or not?
I think
You
he does. but I don't know because I would have seen both at roughly the same time. But that's a great example, you know?
I think these days you see that magic's lost a bit now with all social media and people have got their own platforms and
Well, that's
you
when
do see
people
their
watch
face.
this on YouTube.
Yeah,
and-
you know what I mean? Whereas back in the day, you heard someone on the radio, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't see them.
I think that's impossible now. I don't think there's a mystery face to a voice.
Well, no, there will be some voices. Like if I was to say the voice of the self-service checkout, you know,
Oh, right.
and we
okay.
brought her onto the pod and revealed it, I'd be like, what the? Do you know what I mean?
I thought you meant the sort of more.
If I was to say to you, draw what you think is the voice. I'll tell you where a lot of commentators, you know, you see them in real life, you think like, that's not right, you know.
Football commentators.
Football commentators,
That's what blew my mind when I went into the
is
media
true.
side of it, and I used to see them before the game in the press lounge.
Yeah, it's mad.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know
football
how we do it because in my head I'm sort of imagining a kind of live naked attraction.
What,
but
to
I don't
reveal the voice? Like,
I think so.
yeah, Steve Gubber.
I think so. I mean, that would be great.
You know what I
wouldn't
mean?
it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like there are definitely some, especially match of the day. I think
Yeah.
commentators.
Yeah,
where-
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, as we know, we're in the Gooch part of the season, and today's we're discussing football as a child and the role of parents, big milestones. But I remember kind of my first kind of foray into football and thinking of like how magical it was, and obviously the steps you take. I'll be interested to hear Sid's, take on this as well, because I was mesmerised as a kid, and it was all I wanted to do, and I think that happens a lot. But then there's obviously the pathways through the footballing kind of journey you have, innit? You know, and you're going from and the most influential people like teachers at school, first football manager, coach, my dad, obviously parents, family that really kind of helped you on your way and helped you become what you become.
But when you're in it, you don't know it, do you? It's only when you've come out the other end, or when you actually, I say, make it. When you start playing as an adult, that you actually look back and you go, there were certain tick boxes or markers that you had to, do you know what I mean, get past. So because when you was younger, you didn't know, right, I need to get into a school of excellence or an academy, and then I need to get my sign a schoolboy form at 14. I need to sign a YTS or an academy, a scholarship form at 16. You didn't really know that when you was younger, did you?
It's just about enjoyment, wasn't it, then? When was the first time like it caught, like you saw football and went, wow?
I remember playing when I was like 5 or 6, and it was like
Just
everything.
love doing it. But even before you watched a match on telly, or
Yeah, I played before I watched a game.
Really?
I reckon, yeah. I was 5 or 6. Yeah, because I remember going to my first game at Crystal Palace at Sellers Park, and I was about 6 or 7. I've got a picture. I'll dig it out. I've got a picture of me playing when I was 5.
really,
Yeah.
But like I was the same. Yeah,
I think that's quite common, by the way, that a lot of, just thinking of my nephew, he doesn't really sit down and watch football when it's on, but he wears his kit constantly and he's
You're playing all the
always
time.
playing. Yeah. But
Yeah.
then maybe the game is way more simplified in the playground or whatever it is. So then if you think about it, it makes sense that you'd probably be playing it more, but maybe not as invested in the sort of...
Yeah, well, I feel like my journey was like every kind of manager I had I had them at the right time. When I say manager, I'm talking about like school teacher or, like I remember my dad kind of got me into it. Then I had a really kind of nurturing Mr. Waring, big shout out to Mr. Waring, North Eden Primary School. He was like really kind of nurturing, like wanted everyone to enjoy it. And then I went to, slightly more technical kind of manager with Andy Campbell, who's my manager at West Middlesex Colts. And then from there, I went to like a centre of excellence, like remember Barry Quinn at Brentford. Do you have Barry Quinn?
No.
Oh.
Well, no, the name.
He was amazing. And he was more technical. And everything was just, I felt like I had the right people at the right time. It does feel like all the stars have to align. Would you agree with that, Sid?
Yeah. Sorry, just a quick one. There's a picture of that. That was me when I was 5, playing football.
Look at that. Look at him.
Looks like
You've got a
pick,
massive
Dana.
smile on your face. Look at them boots as well.
I remember being that young. I remember that was in Mitcham where we grew up, and I get vivid memories. I remember warming up and a slide tackling, and I slid in dog shit.
Yeah.
Like dog shit on my shorts before the game.
It still didn't put you off.
No, still played. Just wiped down with a bit of some leaves, I think, in the tissue. I still played. Yeah, the memories. It's. I know what you mean. You get certain people, don't you? You get coaches or school teachers.
Yeah. Who did you have? Who was who's an influence for you?
First of all, definitely parents. Then because I had an older brother, he would literally. I think that was the reason why I started. He was the one that was playing football, taking me outside, throwing me in goal, just smashing balls at me. So I was originally a goalkeeper, but then.
Originally a goalkeeper.
Well, no, but in goal. Like,
you just your brother was making you go in goal.
And then it weren't probably until I was, at Arsenal. Well, just before, a friend's dad, Nicky English, my best mate Bobby, his dad, he took our Sunday League team. And then it started becoming serious. And then when I was at Arsenal, they had the coaches there. Neil Banfield was really, really good.
So had your brother stopped playing football? At some point, you've overtaken your brother. You've gone from the goalie, right?
Yeah.
To
being...
He's created a monster.
But he still played. He always played. He had a few injuries. He broke his fib and tib, which was a full cast back in them days. 9 months in a full cast, crutches. And then he done his knee twice as well. So then it was
your
that
brother?
kind of, yeah.
He played for AFC Wimbledon, right?
He played for AFC Wimbledon when he was,
right.
when he started, yeah.
When we went to Berlin, as an AFC Wimbledon fan, right? Loves them. And he said to me, can't believe it. Sid isn't even the best player in his family.
I did say
He was like, he's a Wimbledon legend.
Did. He was having deep discussions with my brother.
He was all over him.
He loved him.
That's mad, isn't it?
He said he was
How was
his
that?
favourite player.
But how was that for your ego?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. I love seeing him do that because we've been out before and to nightclubs and we've gone to go in and the bar and the doorman's gone, can I get a picture? I went, yeah, of course you can. Yeah, no, with your brother.
With your brother?
Yeah.
Bloody
Okay,
hell. That's great. That.
Yeah.
So then at some point, you're obviously these influences early doors and you've started flying, right? And it's become clear that you're on this path.
Yeah.
And as you say, it seems to be that you have to navigate so much. There is so much luck and so much away from luck, just life and there's all sorts of things that seem to get in the way that, only a few kind of make it through that and then only a few get chosen.
Yeah.
Did you find that you had a constant sort of presence or people that just kept bringing you through that time and sort of made you feel special or different?
I had mates who are still my mates now, but 5 or 6 lads that were just amazing, really. Like to have the foresight to kind of look after me at that time. Like I thank every day for it, like for them to just kind of go, nah, you got a chance of being a footballer. Like you're not coming with us to this, you're not coming with us to that, or like that. I don't think that. I mean, so many lads go the other way. It's like come and do this, come and do that, and get yourself in trouble.
You'll be right, just this one time.
Yeah, just come on. Like it's like peer pressure. Mine was the other way. If I came with them to parties or whatever they were doing, they would kind of have a go at me for it. We're like, you got a game tomorrow. That's special, I think. And not everyone has that.
Yeah, I exactly the same with me. 4 or 5 mates. They go out Fridays, Saturdays, and then they'll be the same. I'll be like, boys, I can't come out. Got football tomorrow. They'll be like, okay, cool.
Yeah, no worries.
So, see you the next one. Let me know what it was like. That was it.
And that's what you need, I think. And not everyone kind of gets that.
So you talk about this kind of thing of having to be disciplined, as in your friends are going out and all of that. How else did that sort of self-discipline appear in your life? Like, did you have targets that you had to set for yourselves, or was there a pressure that kind of came on it in a bit more of a kind of numbers point?
I think like too much now, like 9, 10, 11-year-olds. It's like, I want to be a Premier League player. I want to play for England. Like, the best thing for me I did was like the small little wins every day. Like go for 10 keepy ups. I could do get to 20, get to 50, that kind of thing, rather than I want to be a Premier League player. You're just miles off it. Miles off it, aren't you? It's like I want to get into my Sunday league team, I want to start every week.
Yeah.
I want to get 20 goals, I want to get 30 goals, I want to get 40 goals. That kind of thing. I want to be the best player in this team.
But is that advice that you throw down to even your kids or other people is maybe looking at it more incrementally? So you can't just think it's Premier League or nothing. You have to work this way through. You have to work it up in smaller steps.
Yeah, much smaller.
Yeah. So when I was saying when you're in the system, you're just going past each sort of milestone. But to get there, you knew. So, for instance, when we was coming through, you'd be on schoolboy forms, which is the same as an academy contract now. But then you'd know at under 14, that's when it got serious. So when you was under 14, you signed a 2-year schoolboy form that took you to 16.
That was the one that I wanted so bad. Like,
but
so
up until then, you was just a number. You were just in the system. But you knew probably under 13, it was like, so your parents were like, so you got big season this season.
Yeah, that's it.
So you're gearing yourself up for that marker. And then when you've done that, then it was then on to when it got to under 16, whether you got YTS or not after you left school. So the nearer you got to it, you knew it become more serious, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So from the people around you. So my mum and dad were the same.
Did it affect your schoolwork, Sids, when you knew you were at a YTS contract?
No.
When you're sitting your GCSEs and stuff, do you think, I'm going to go all in for my...
Yeah, I was still... I went all in because I've got to do this in case football doesn't happen. I was in it. And I was like a lovable rogue. I was a lovable rogue at school. I went to the same school as my brother and sister, which are both older. So the teachers kind of looked out for me as well. And when I was getting out of line or being a bit cheeky, they'd get me back in line and make sure that I was doing my schoolwork properly. And I was one of them ones where I always done my schoolwork, really. I done it because I was training so much. I do my homework in class, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I wouldn't have to do it at home because I wouldn't have time. So I was quite keen on getting it done and just get through school. Just don't fuck it off or don't mug it off, but just get through school. And I've done quite well with all my grades, to be fair. Yeah. And then, but football was. Do you remember going to the careers meeting when they say, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I go, "I want to be a footballer." And they're like, okay, but what if that doesn't happen? You know, no.
Yeah, no.
I remember sitting there going, no.
Great idea.
Yeah, not one. No, and we go, no. I'm telling you, I'm going to be a football player. And they're like, okay, but what if? So then you have to just have that conversation to go, oh, all right, well, I'll be a PE teacher.
But don't you think sometimes, and I'm sure it's changed now, and I remember having a careers chat and being slightly sort of poo-pooed about what I wanted to do. Don't you think careers advice should go the other way? So in fact, when you say you want to do something maybe relatively boring, they should go, too boring. Be a footballer.
Yeah,
you know, like,
why is boring like the way to go?
Yeah. Or do you know what I mean? Just trying to funnel everyone down the same thing. Like, it's quite nice to... And actually, I'm doing them a disservice because I'm sure they do. And actually, their job is to probably try be the sensible...
Well, it's just if you look at the percentages of people that don't make it in football, then they're correct in what they say, aren't they? No, actually get a job where those percentages are, you are going to more likely have a career.
Mm. Were you ever discouraged from having relationships?
As in
either...
girlfriend?
Yeah.
Remember Rafa told me that to rein it in. Because Ab was in the paper and stuff, and I was getting pictured with her and stuff like that. And he was like, "Are you sure about this?" I was like, "Well,
that's a mad chat, isn't it?"
Yeah.
Wow. Did he really say that?
Yeah. He pulled me and just said, "Look, no, I don't think this is good." And I was like, "Look, I don't want to be fucking." So I basically just like went to ground. I had to just hide.
So he's actually he's not really saying, is this affecting your football? He's basically saying, are you sure you want this?
Yeah, he's saying, look, this is becoming a problem, because people were taking pictures of us and we're in the paper and stuff like that. But I didn't really. It didn't bother me because I didn't take any notice of it. No. But obviously it seemed to bother him. Maybe it was like you thought I may be getting distracted or something, but. I was just doing what everyone else was doing. It's just that they were taking photos of... I think no one could believe that, what was going on when I was with Ab.
Do you think it was? Yeah, that
know
was
what I
the
mean?
distraction.
I think it was the distraction. Was like, how the fuck's he pulled that?
It was focus on your unbelievable achievements off the pitch.
My unbelievable achievements off the pitch were perhaps overshadowing my reasonable achievements on the pitch.
Yeah.
So I think that was the issue there.
Yeah. That's a funny one. That's almost a bit of a kind of, that reminds me of a kind of Fergie time. You know, where you hear them stories of him speaking of bets.
Yeah. Like he said the same thing, didn't he, a few times? To like gigs as well. And
I didn't have that. I've been with my missus since we was kids, so we went through school. But
they probably like that.
Yeah, when we come out the other end, and she knew the script as well. Like weekends, wouldn't see her. There was a moment. I remember there being a moment when I was 14, and I'd not long signed that contract as a schoolboy, and I got called into the office, and Liam Brady sat me down. He said, "You've done really well up until now. We've given you obviously a new contract that's going to go to 16." He said, "But you're at the Arsenal, son." He said that we play football. You need to improve your passing if you want to be at this football club. And my dad was in the office, and we come out, and he was like, "That's a disguised, basically bollocking." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And then within a week, he had his builder mate come round, and he built 6 walls. We don't have a massive garden, but he like a metre by a metre walls around like a half moon shape, as like in terms of like breeze block walls, and they was like bounce ball walls for me.
Brilliant, that
Yeah.
technique constantly.
Yeah. Literally. So I was out there once they was fixed up and cemented and done. I was out there all the time, every day, like even sometimes before school. 10 minutes on these walls, and them walls, my mum and dad are still in the same house, and he knocked them down, I reckon, about 2 years ago. Because my mum was like, "Oh, get rid of them walls." Like even when I was a pro,
in a way, isn't it?
Even when I was a pro,
go back and do it.
Yeah,
Did
even when I was a pro at Reading, when I was in the Championship, and even when I was in the Premier League, if I was going to visit my mum and dad or come back home to where our house was, I'd go to their house in pre-season or off-season, open the side gate and go and do the walls.
That's like a Mighty Ducks movie or something,
great,
like the
isn't it?
sixth one when you go back with your kids or your grandkids and they're then doing the walls.
Yeah,
They should have
the walls.
remained. If you'd been on this podcast by then, we would have got them certified as a wonder of the world
Get a
or
blue
something.
plaque on them.
Yeah, we would have done all of it, Sids. One day they would have been Stonehenge.
Well, they was an eyesore in the garden.
Do you reckon that's what Stonehenge was? No one's floated that theory.
Yeah.
Actually, it was
What, a young caveman just pinging it off.
Yeah, because if you look at it, there's a couple of goals there, and
Yeah,
then
that's
he
true.
probably was told he needs to improve his passing
Or shooting.
or shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they
That's
built
it.
that, and now everyone thinks it's Druids and outer space.
Could be.
Yeah.
It was Sidwell's ancestors improving his passing.
Passing. You know what? I often think where I grew up, right, into the park before school at like 6 a.m. We used to get up, and my dad set up some cones and stuff, and we'd go and do stuff. We'd do passing, we'd do heading, we'd do volleying, we'd do skills like sprint drills. 6 o'clock in the morning, right? But like backing onto the park is everyone's bedrooms. Right, so obviously at first I was embarrassed. By the end, it didn't bother me. But I'd see the lights individually come on, like people waking up,
They're waking up.
and then looking out and going, "What the fuck's going on down there?" And I'm like doing drills at like 10, 11, 12,
That's class.
13 years old every morning. So I'd either do that or we'd go swimming or we'd do something, improving like some part of my game. And yeah, like they must all just woke up and gone like, "What on earth's going on out there?" Do you know what I mean? But like, I suppose that, when I end up playing football, then
Yeah, it all
it's
adds
nice
up,
to
mate.
see that,
Yeah.
that's what went on.
It all adds up. Is that bit of the park still park? If that makes
Yeah, it
sense.
is.
Not
It
been
is.
built on?
Yeah, no, it's still there to this day.
So
Yeah,
I reckon there's one of these for every footballer. There must be the kind of the
It's
bit where it
interesting.
was DIY, and we could mark those.
Yeah.
And
I know, but the thing is that the way I look at that, right, is that sometimes like that was hard. Like my dad would wake me up at like before school at like 5:45, 5:30, and then we'd go out and I'd be doing things that none of my mates are doing. And I'm thinking, "Dad, why are we doing this? Like no one else was doing this apart from me." And like, is that the difference between? But then there are probably other people that parents do that for that they didn't make it. And he goes, "Remember when you did that, Dad? Fucking
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what was the point of all that? What a ball ache,
Yeah.
So it's a fine balance, isn't it? But like for my story,
don't know.
I feel like they're the percentages that made me.
Well, I think if you hadn't done that, there's a very good chance that you wouldn't have
made it. Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean if you do that is
Exactly,
good.
yeah.
It's one of those. But the foresight to make these walls and everything, and how many hours would you have to spend on that? Did you really notice the difference?
Yeah, I'd be out there, because then you start visualising game scenarios. So I'd bounce it off one wall, and I'd put myself. It's mad because your brain takes yourself into like a computer game or a football match. So I'll be bouncing off one wall, and then I'll be practicing that as that ball comes back, I'm going to go around the corner into the striker.
Yeah.
And I'll go around my marker.
Yeah,
and then receive it again, and then bounce it off to. So it was all I used to just like visualise different game scenarios, 1 touch, 2 touch, and they was there till about 2.5 years ago. Because my mum was like, "Look, knock them walls down," and he's like, "No, grandkids." So when my kids and my brother's kids started playing, they'd go on them walls as well. Yeah. In the end, he got enough. He was like, "I got to go now."
How important do you think, Sid's, is visualisation of like the way you're positioned and things like that? Like I always remember, like as a midfield player, you know, someone would pass it in. You know that little one where you just like first time round the corner, and get the ball around the other side. You've taken your man out. Someone's right up your arse. You're flicking around the corner. That one, you know, when you got a little bit of time, you get on a half turn and pass it, that kind of stuff.
I love that.
As a midfield player.
Yeah.
It's definitely, and you visualise someone up your arse, someone not up your arse, you know, turning on the ball. And as a striker, I'd get kind of side on and I'd be holding someone off, you know, rolling this way, rolling that way, get out wide and get into the box.
That's
All these things are just, no one's there, but you're thinking about kind of where everyone is on the pitch.
But
even though they're not there.
We got that from watching a load of games, didn't we? You'd have got that from watching whatever striker or whatever game, and you'd have gone, I'm going to try and practice that. I like that. Then you go into the garden, whether it be in that day or next week, whereas now I think the youngsters that come through, and I can say this about my own kids, their attention span, they don't watch a game.
No.
If they're watching a game,
couldn't do 90 minutes watching one player.
No chance.
Like,
Not even watching a game.
I remember watching.
They'll flick on there. They'll go on their phone. They'll have a little flick around. Then they'll be watching the game.
Yeah, barely watching it.
Yeah.
I remember watching. My dad said to me, I remember we were at Chelsea, and my dad, Mark Hughes, was before he signed for Chelsea. He was at United, and he said, just watch him, right, and just watch his hold up play. He's the best I've ever seen at holding the ball up, right? And he'd like back in. He'd be fighting his defender. They'd fire it in anywhere, neck, thigh. And I remember watching him, and obviously he had big thighs, but he'd pin someone like that, and they'd fire this ball into him, and it just hit his thigh and drop dead like that. He'd sweep it out to the winger, and then get in the box, and he'd go, "Look how simple that is." You know what I mean? Look how simple he's made that look. He said, "That's not easy to do. Pin your defender, obviously got to be strong, but like the first touch was instant, and then just sweeping it out like, and then everyone flood. They know that they can fizz it into him from anywhere, and he kills it dead." And he said, "That's the level that I want you to get to." So I watched the whole game, and I went. And then the next day, I remember we went out 6 a.m, and he just fizzed balls into me anywhere, and I just had to kill it, and that was a huge part of my game in the end. You know, I wasn't as strong as Mark Hughes, but I'd find other ways. I'd come off people, or you know, I'd get a yard of space and then kill it. And you know, if the defender was really strong, obviously I felt like I was. By the end, I felt comfortable, able to pin people. But that technique of kind of that hold up play was just all from watching Mark Hughes do it.
Yeah, and then recreating these moments.
Trying
in your
to
garden,
do it,
trying to find ways. Steve's Henge, where you're putting yourself into a kind of.
Henge.
No, but what I mean is you're creating this
Steve
way to be
Sidwell.
able to do it in the garden. You know, Steve's Henge, man. Like
Steve's Henge, mate.
I wish we.
I'm glad that's gone. To be fair,
That's what I mean.
Do you know
but
what?
Maybe we recreate it.
It took it lasted another 5 years because it was going to go a long time before, and then he compromised by painting them green. Okay, because they was imagine the eyesore on that, like a metre by a metre breeze block wall, right? 6 of them in the garden, and then he compromised with my mum to say, right, if I paint them green, they'll blend in, and I'll just paint a white stripe down the middle, which was my target for the middle of the wall. Yeah, so I reckon that got him another 5 years.
How many was it? Was it 4, 5?
There was 1, 2, 3, 4. There was 6.
6.
6 in like a little, like a little semicircle.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Interesting.
it's worth us at some point maybe getting that made up and we can dump it somewhere and
Well,
let people take it on.
Well, I was thinking, have you still got is there any remnants of it anywhere? Because we could bring in like the Berlin Wall, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You could sign it. We could kind of give it away.
Yeah. I think
long
what would be
gone.
great
That
is
is
like
long gone.
when we have guests on the show that they take it on themselves. It could be our Top Gear lap, you know?
Yeah. The Wall.
They get a little go on
Then they take on the wall.
Didn't Danny
Steve
Dyer
Sidwell.
present that?
the wall. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Danny Dyer to present it.
Take on Steve's Henge.
Yeah, take
Yeah.
on Steve Henge.
Yeah. Right.
So I was going to ask you, Chris. Obviously, me and Sids are talking about it from a footballer's point of view, but like your earliest memories of football, and did you play it at like
Well,
kind of
yeah,
8,
because
9, 10 years old?
well, my mum and dad weren't into it at all. So I always wonder why I sort of fell in love with football at such a young age, because it wasn't something I had an older brother playing. There was no real points of reference in my house what it was, and it was kind of before I really went to school, I guess. So I don't really understand what caught on, and also football wasn't on TV as much as it was. It makes me feel really old. Like my parents had one TV in their living room, so they never really wanted to watch it. So they'd watch what they're watching, and I'd just watch this black and white TV that I'd got off like my uncle, and had it and I'd watch, say, that any match on ITV, Champions League matches, those kind of games.
But did you not have like
So I
what
would
was your
listen to it on the
influence
radio.
there?
I would listen to it on the radio, and this is what I can't work out is what made me so obsessed with it at such a young age, because it just wasn't about as much. And I always remember my mum would go for a little walk around the block in Pinner, and just of an evening would just go for a little walk, and I always remember her saying, would you like to join a football club? And I was like, yeah. But I was really stressed because I didn't know what a yellow or a red card was. And I remember being really stressed and saying like, I worry, I don't know what a yellow or red, as if you've got to worry
Wow,
about that
yeah.
age. 5 probably or 6.
Yeah.
But my earliest memory was Euro 96 and just how big that was everywhere. And I don't really remember much before then.
It's weird how you are a product of your kind of upbringing and environment, like so much, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
if they're not into football, you're not, are you?
No.
Like what?
Yeah, I don't
Which is
think
not-
if like your kids, I think sometimes it can be a bit of a kind of stress if you're into football but your kid isn't. You can't assume that. I think there is something inside that football appeals to or unlocks. There's something.
Yeah, I think that the tide to turn a little bit with more that you're still going to get the parents that are going to be like, we're going to give you everything to try and be a professional football player, and if you don't make it, you don't make it. But I think the tide to turn where there's more now going, we're going to give you everything to be a professional football player alongside you continue your education.
Are you
'Cause if
even
it doesn't
allowed
work
to do
out-
football now without that side of it? Because I think academies are so
No, it's
accountable
just,
now.
Yeah,
A
but
lot-
you can, because they are accountable and they have got to tick a box with the Premier League and the FA of continuing school. So when I was coaching at Brighton, the lads, there was a school in the building, so we had classrooms in the training ground, so they could literally
They just
do their work as soon as they're done, downstairs, out, rather than go outsourced to a school. But you can now, as parents, dictate what you want your kid to do. So if they are really educated, you can go, right, that's fine, he can sign a scholarship, but I want him to do an A-level in this. And
But
you're
even-
going to have to
even
find a
younger
way
than
of...
that, mate. Like, do you? So when you were getting brought up in this thing, so were you at a normal school in say year 6?
Yeah. I
Whilst doing the football
I think
side.
it's different now.
Yeah.
Like, I was in a normal school the whole way through till 16 when I left school, and then I was told that I kind of had to do a GMVQ in Leisure and Tourism or a A-level as well. And I did an A-level, but I dropped that.
So you still got to do things like your year 6 disco and stuff like that. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
First dance with a girl, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Sids? Mine was to Casey and JoJo all my
Was it?
life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of weird. One of the best songs ever made.
For someone.
I remember that
like
song.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that, and
Was it
the
one of the Sugar
Titanic
Babes?
Titanic theme. as well. No, it wasn't one
Was
with
it?
Sugar Babes before you start that. I don't. We did a slow dance, the Titanic theme as well, which I
Did
always
you?
thought was a weird one, but it was kind of weird. I always remember Year 6 disco. They'd slow it down for 3 songs, and it was always pre-arranged. That I don't know if this is still a thing really, but all the boys would be on one side of the room, and all the girls would be on the other side of the room, and all the boys would either kick around one of them small fluffy footballs or pretend to, and the girls would be over that side. But then for 3 songs, you'd meet in the middle in a pre-arranged dance.
Yeah. Did like, was there certain people left out of that though?
Well, there would have been,
It's
I
dog
guess.
dog there, isn't it? Like, imagine you get left. You get left out there. It's not a nice place to be, is it?
Well, it's not for three slow songs. You know, there's only so much panda pop you can have on the side there. It just sort of stood there with one of them and one of them big long strawberry
The
laces.
old pandas, yeah. What about this one? I remember going to what was it? PGL.
Do you know it stands for Parents Get Lost?
Yeah, you know it doesn't. The kids made that up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's called something else.
Because I keep going to these meetings. They're like official PGL, and someone told me it's Parents Get.
Yeah. I think that's surely the kids made that up.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Anyway, you did a PGL.
Yeah, when
disco.
PGL was drinking that panda, you just made me think of it.
Couple
And,
of pandas.
I was having a couple of pandas, and at the bar, and but someone's to shout dance off, right? And I thought, I've got this down. I'm ledge at this. Got this, no problem. Anyway, my 2 best mates, who were twin brothers, won the dance off, but I was riddled with jealousy for losing, and I just pretended I won as well and told everyone that I'd won, and there was an extra can of Panda or something, a bottle of Panda for the winners, and I took one as well.
Took that as well?
And just said that I'd won as well, but I hadn't. I just kind of want to clarify. I just want to get that across now that I admit I didn't win.
That's lived with you.
That's,
Hasn't it?
it feels like he's needed to get that
Because
off.
my mates both said that you didn't win.
Was it
and I
Run
said I
DMC?
did.
So now the truth is
So this is the truth. I didn't win that day.
Do you remember your first dance with a girl?
I do. And it was, the way to describe it would probably be lean up against a lamppost and just swaying
At a disco?
when you're pissed.
When you're pissed? How old were you?
No, I'm just saying, if I had to describe it, if I had to
I thought, oh my God, Steve drinks well.
Me and Crouchy were just on the pandas, and the cool one over there is on whatever,
Fucking hell.
up against a lamp.
I would say if you used to visualise it now, it'd be, if you could just
Dance. It was a dance with a girl.
yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
you're not
that's what
dancing
you did.
fast, are you? Not
No,
like,
mate.
it'd just be sort of.
I always remember I learned such a valuable lesson because she put her hands on my shoulders, and then I put my hands on her shoulders, and then we swayed like that. And I
What,
always
from
remember
that
her mate
distance?
behind.
You're doing the conga, right?
We were like, so it was like 2 zombies.
You
Like
literally
that.
put your hands on her shoulder.
Yeah, but I always remember her mate behind going like,
Oh, right. Yeah, get it down to the waist.
yeah.
What's her? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was fair play to her.
And that sticks with you, that sort of stuff
Oh, yeah,
as well,
it's
doesn't it?
it's more on the waist.
Do you remember
Were
what
you
the song
rigid?
was, Sid? I was
Were
what?
you rigid? Like, were you very...
Yeah, it was like there was no like. It was just you swayed.
swayed.
You swayed. It was.
swayed.
It was all such a lovely, innocent thing. But it's weird because you go to nightclubs now, they don't slow things down for 3 songs, do they?
No.
Why was that a thing in a Year 6 disco?
It's a slowy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a what?
The slowy.
Slowy.
Get the slowy on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right
but you
then.
don't get that in any other nightclub situation, or wedding, or anything now,
I think
do
you
you?
do now, no.
But how good would that be if halfway through a night, on comes Casey and JoJo, the Titanic?
So I'm
thing?
just thinking of David Guetta in Ibiza or something like that. She goes, just turns it right down for
That's
a
what I'm
slowy.
saying.
Little slowy.
Calvin
Well, you
Harris,
tell me,
Friday Night
you're the man in the
Yeah,
in the
sure,
know.
game,
What would you,
so
if you had
go.
to just go? What would
Slowy.
you play?
3 songs.
Well, or just what would your first one be? For
I'll tell you the 3 songs I'd go for, only because it'd be a throwback to then. Casey and JoJo, All My Life.
classic.
Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On, Titanic theme. And Leanne Rimes, How Do I Live?
Liam. Oh yes.
Living is without you.
No,
Not that one.
How do I live?
Oh, sorry.
without
Oh, see, I'm even swaying, doing it.
I want
to know. How do I live without you? If you ever know, how will I ever survive? How would I? Oh, how would I? Oh, how would I live? Hey guys, Crouchy here. Subscribe, please. I fire into a few messages here. One from Dave. I've always wondered when at competitions if players communicate with their club teammates who are at the finals but with other countries. If, say, England was about to play a semi-final against a team with a club teammate in, would Crouchy be tempted to bombard him with messages telling him he actually thinks he's really shit just to try and get his head before a match?
That's an interesting one. Have you?
Yeah. Well,
Have you done that?
you know what you do. Like I remember, say, if you're mates with the player, like the manager will always say to you, like, "Have you spoke to so and so?" And you'd say, "Yeah," but it's kind of etiquette not to ask, you know. But if that particular player, say, isn't playing or doesn't like the manager, he'd give you the team no problem. Do you know what I mean? Like you can get, and then you'd relay the information to that team.
Mm.
So you can get information out of them with that. Getting in your head and making them feel like certainly at major tournaments and stuff like that. I don't think I wouldn't pick up the phone to say, you know, Xabi Alonso if we were playing Spain or something like that.
Yeah.
Or
You'll be looking at, say, the Ronaldo Rooney sort of situation, that kind of thing when it happens.
But I was playing in that game and I remember afterwards, obviously Rooney was fuming. And Ronaldo went round the back of the bus to get on his bus. And I remember Wayne was trying to kind of get out and speak to him. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It seemed like he was told not to react to that. There was no...
Do you mean Rooney?
Yeah.
Because he was just in shock.
It was just so...
Do you mean in the immediate...
He was fuming.
Yeah, but even after, when they went back to pre-season, it just seemed like you just look at his characteristics and you just think, oh, he's got to go for his sort of pin him up but it just seemed really...
Time's a healer though, isn't it? Like, time's a healer. I think at that time, straight after the game, he was ready to go. But
he must have called him, surely.
Yeah, I think, but you know, I think that's probably where the manager, Alex Ferguson's already, you know, been so good. I mean, like they ended up having an amazing season, didn't they? Playing together. Ronaldo scored 40 odd goals. Rooney got 30. Yeah. Rooney had a great season the next year, and I think that's just good management, isn't it? But at the time, obviously, that wasn't good.
What about a manager firing into the messages though? So you had, I think I'm getting this right, but I think didn't Arteta message Declan Rice before the final of the Euros, but signed off his text "Vamos." It's kind of showing a bit of support, but equally he's shown support to the other team as well.
I never knew that, did he?
I think I'm getting that right.
That's just it's a bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, listen, you know, I wouldn't try and get in one of lads' heads. Like, you just say your hellos and goodbyes, don't you?
Yeah.
Be quite formal. I wouldn't do it personally.
Yeah, I imagine the WhatsApp group calms down a little bit for the tournament.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
We've got a message here from Steve, and he's attached a picture with this one. Says, "What's your thoughts on Stewards wearing boots?"
Well,
yeah, got a picture here of the fan going up to Mbappe, and he looks like Fabio Capello.
It does
look like
in boots there.
Well, I've seen this doing TV, being pitch side. I've actually seen when I was at Villa Park. Actually, the steward. He was one of the main stewards. So he was probably the one that probably had to delegate some jobs, and he had football socks and boots on.
Yeah.
I think
that's good for the game.
I think if it's to get on that pitch, that they can get on there and they're not slipping over. They can get on there rapid and they can take down whoever they want to take down.
That's the main purpose, isn't it? When I see the stewards, because there's a couple of things here. We haven't dug down on stewards too often, but I've got a lot of respect for them, obviously, because they come in at the point of the game where it's often very tense and they have to come in, they put the little stools down. The ones right at the front, though, especially in front of where I am at Watford, they have to lie down almost as if they're guarding a free kick, almost as if they're draft excluders. And some of them can't get the angles right, you know? So some of them are lying down, but it takes quite a lot of core strength to be down in a certain position. But some of them are cropping up a leg and almost lying like you did for the life art, you know?
Yeah, it's almost Babe Station-esque.
It is a bit Babe Station. It's almost a bit like you want to put a little towel over the sort of groin area just to cover up a little bit. But my thing is, if they then need to get up at some pace, it's like getting off a sun lounger at pace. It doesn't really...
Can't do it.
They're not primed, are they?
No. There's a guy at Spurs, actually. I think he recently retired because I saw him. I used to speak to him quite a lot. And he's had boots on for years. He's got the dreads. And if you've been at a Spurs match whenever there's a streaker, like, he is rapid. He's so quick. And he wears the boots.
Well, I think Messi's bodyguard's been a big influence on this fight. I think we'll see a big change this season, actually, in Stewards getting a bit faster. I think they just seem to respond to things.
Respond to good. So. I don't like this new thing of people running on and having pictures and like fully clothed and all that. Not a fan of it. Like what? Like it's another thing. Went out with the songs. I thought is the naked streaker. What if you're gonna run on? At least come on like naked. You know what I mean? Like everyone's fully clothed with having selfies.
I mean, it's
not what streaker's about, is it?
I'll be entertained. I would be entertained if that happened.
Yeah,
it's not what streaker's about.
Streaking.
No.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's the game's changed on that front. It used to just be a streaker in the.
And he'd do it for the fun of it, and he wouldn't even want a picture out of it.
Whereas this hasn't got.
He's just got a pair of trainers. He wants a picture of Mbappe.
I just want to know, with the stewards that take their boots to the stadium, right, that when they're leaving the house, if they're either half or if they're on their own, they go, if they're just like reliving being a footballer or trying to act of, I've got to take my boots. Take your boots. Don't forget your boots for work.
Get your boots, yeah.
What if they clean their boots? What if they got the dubbing?
Do you think junior stewards clean the boots of the more senior stewards as well? Do you think is there a hierarchy in amongst them all as well?
It makes sense. It makes sense, especially in a high profile game like in the one in the photo here. It's Spain versus France. You know, there's a danger to players. You know, you don't know what that guy's got on him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it could be dangerous.
Yeah, you can't fault their bravery in this instance. You know, but being prepared with boots. So we're saying we're for it, are we?
I'm not against it. I'm putting it that way. Yeah. I get it.
Cool.
There's a big problem with fully clothed streakers.
What will cause all sorts of difficulties one day is when a steward decides to pitch invade themselves, and then who tackles the steward? You know, it's like it's going to cause all sorts of. It's a false flag situation. You know, it's going to cause all sorts of.
Thought of that. Yeah.
You know what I mean, Sid?
Who tackles the steward?
If a steward decides to invade, who does what? Do you think it's been discussed? I'm not sure.
There's one to look out for.
It's the same, isn't it? It's the same as anyone in a public office or police. You know, if they decide to go rogue, we're fucked, aren't we?
Public office. Do you think? When you apply for your passport and you've got to get it witnessed, and they give a list of professions, which, by the way, I think it covers pretty much every profession.
Yeah.
Is steward on there? I think it would be. You know how it has like local counsellor, doctor, lawyer, steward. I think they would be trusted enough to witness.
Do you reckon?
I think so. If it's to keep an eye on immigration, I don't think anyone would begrudge a steward witnessing a passport application.
Yeah, for instance, right, if you are, this guy who looks like Fabio Capello, if you are his family, right, and you're watching France versus Spain, and all your kids are watching the game, and you go, oh, hold on, there's Dad. You go, there's Dad.
Yeah, you're waiting all game, aren't you?
Pitch.
Aren't you waiting all game praying for a streaker?
Yeah, but I don't think he expects to go on the pitch. He's probably thinking, I'm not going to tell them what I actually do. If you're anything like my kids, they've got a clue what I get up to, in my line of work. Not a fucking Scooby. Yeah. So, like, they're going to go, what the hell does Dad do? He's got a high vis on him, some booze.
The irony is,
he's not a footballer.
The Capello one here has actually got a picture with Mbappe.
Yeah, a legitimate one. And he hasn't been thrown off.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's the way to do it. If you want a picture with Mbappe or a major player, become a steward. That's actually the way to go about it.
No rests. You actually get paid to have a picture with him.
You're being paid.
You just need someone to be the scapegoat and get on the pitch.
And it will happen because it's happening all the time.
Yeah, it's happening all the time.
Yeah.
All right, well, I enjoyed that. Listen, it's good to go kind of back over, down memory lane.
Yeah.
Down the sort of the routes that we took to get to where we were and whether or not it really did help us. And I think, somebody, like I say about, I'm thankful to kind of my dad and managers and coaches and people of influence throughout my career and kind of wouldn't be here without them. So there's a big up shout to all the kind of grassroots level managers, coaches and people that have influenced so many of the players that we see today.
Yeah,
definitely.
Nice. Nice. All right, lads. Same again next week.
Yeah. See you next week, guys.
Back stronger. Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba, guys.